At the beginning of the movie, a woman is in severe pain. Desperate, she grabs a knife and cuts off something strange growing on her leg. Suddenly, she hears a noise that startles her. When she steps outside, she sees her dog barking at something in the dark. Uneasy, she moves forward and shuts the door. But someone violently yanks her back, kills her, and takes her away. The attacker then stuffs her body into a bag, and the scene cuts to black. A news report announces that actress Jenna Gennaro is missing, then abruptly cuts to a promo for Zoe Shannon's interview about Shell, the brand promising eternal youth. Samantha waits to meet a director for a movie role when a young woman recognizes her. She introduces herself as Chloe, saying Samantha used to babysit her 10 years ago. Surprised, Samantha hugs her and says she's all grown up. Chloe asks why she's there, and Samantha says she's meeting the director. Samantha arrives and is handed a script. Surprised, she asks about the director, and she is told that he couldn't attend due to scheduling conflicts, but will review the tapes later. Samantha finishes her audition, but it's clear it didn't go the way she hoped. Later, Samantha listens to the audition recording and hears the man say she's talented, but too close to 40 for the studio to approve. The woman suggests Chloe Benson instead, younger but stunning. The recording also captures Samantha returning to the room to grab her phone. The next day, Samantha meets with her agents, Brett and Audrey, who tell her that with recent developments, there are new expectations and enhanced standards for talent. They insist no one is asking her to lose weight and say they love that she doesn't have a traditional body type. However, they suggest she consider some treatment options, specifically the Shell Clinic. Samantha says she's not sure she's ready for that, but they reassure her that everyone does something and encourage her to try it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Later, Samantha asks her friend, Lydia, about Shell, and she says it works, pointing out that Zoe Shannon is the richest woman in America, and she looks amazing. That evening on a date, the man says she looks familiar, and she tells him she's a television actor and was on a once popular show called Hannah Got a Heart. Later, as they make out in a taxi, the man feels something on her neck. She apologizes, saying it's psoriasis and not contagious, just prone to flare-ups when it rains. He says it's fine, but claims he has to be up early and decides to head home. That night, Samantha watches Zoe's interview, where she says her goal is to free clients from self-doubt and inhibition. She adds, "You can't fight the future, and the future is here." The next day, Samantha visits the clinic, where she is asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement to protect their high-profile clients, and is told the doctor will answer all her questions during the consultation. She watches a video of Dr. Thaddeus Brand claiming that some organisms avoid aging because of the telomerase enzyme, and that by adapting a crustacean enzyme for humans, they've managed to halt visible aging. She is then escorted to the changing area, where she notices that everyone is very young, toned, and effortlessly confident, and among them, she also spots Chloe. Samantha decides to leave, feeling uncomfortable, but Dr. Hubert stops her. She tells him she doesn't think this is for her, and when he asks why, she admits it all feels a little strange. Hubert calmly suggests they sit down and talk, assuring her that if she still has doubts after their conversation, he will personally walk her out. He shows her images of a burn victim whose scars vanished after the first skin shedding. The treatment, he explains, doesn't just stop aging, it boosts cellular repair, helping skin heal faster and stronger. When he asks about her psoriasis, and she says it comes and goes, he claims they can eliminate flare-ups entirely. She asks if it's dangerous, and he admits there are risks since it's surgery, but says it's painless and less invasive than Botox or LASIK. Samantha agrees to the treatment, and Chloe, surprised to see her there, says how wild it is to keep running into each other. Samantha congratulates her on the movie, but Chloe says she dropped out and reveals she's been cast as the new Catwoman. Samantha's treatment finally begins. When it's over, she notices an odd mark on her wrist, but she's told it's just protective coverings while her skin heals, and her psoriasis is all cleared up. When Samantha gets home, she finds a package at her door, and inside is a formal invitation to an exclusive Christmas party at Zoe's private residence. Samantha arrives at the party, and Zoe personally comes to greet her, saying she heard she visited the clinic and that she specifically asked to meet her. She adds that when her mother was sick, they used to watch every episode of her show together, and they absolutely loved it. Later, during dinner, Zoe gestures towards Samantha and asks the guests if they think the two of them look related. The guests agree, and Sebastian then raises a toast, thanking their lovely host for the gorgeous meal. Samantha takes her first bite and compliments the food, asking what it is, to which Zoe calmly replies, "It's me." She asks if Samantha likes it, and slightly unsettled, but trying to stay composed, Samantha hesitates, then slowly takes another bite. Later, Samantha quietly goes upstairs, and, curious, she peeks into Zoe's bedroom, only to find her lying on the bed, lost in a private moment. Zoe suddenly notices her, and startled, Samantha quickly turns to leave, but Zoe opens the door and, embarrassed, Samantha apologizes, saying she was just looking for the bathroom. But Zoe opens the door wider and tells her it's fine, explaining calmly that sometimes she just needs to center herself. Zoe says she remembers the first month of treatment being the most exciting time, asking if she doesn't feel the same way. Samantha admits she feels it too, and recalls her mom warning that no matter how much she changed in LA, people would still see she didn't belong. Zoe tells Samantha that she is the personification of beauty, but she needs to get out of her own head. Zoe explains that once you understand how others see you, it becomes much easier to get what you want. She then hands her a large toy, saying she wants her to look into the mirror and not leave the room until she fully embraces herself. She continues, "I want you to see how I see you, how the world will see you from now on." Later, when Samantha comes downstairs by the pool, there's a noticeable change in her. She looks happier, more confident, and completely comfortable in her own skin. 3 months later, Samantha starts landing roles in movies, and her life begins to change dramatically. Opportunities come one after another, her confidence grows, and her career takes off. At the same time, her bond with Zoe becomes stronger. A few days later, Zoe admits that Shannon isn't even her real last name. It used to be Zilt, and Samantha also confesses that her name isn't real either, to which Zoe says they're both just pretending to be something they're not. One day, Lydia finds Samantha's fridge stocked with shell food, and when Samantha says it's healthy, Lydia bluntly tells her she's starting to turn into Zoe. While unpacking, Lydia finds an old photo album, and they start flipping through their childhood pictures. Just then, Lydia suddenly notices a mole on Samantha's neck, and suggests she should probably get it checked out. Samantha visits Dr. Hubert, who removes the mole and says he'll run a biopsy to be safe. He reassures her that it doesn't look serious, and there's likely nothing to worry about. When Samantha gets home, Detective Flores and Abramson arrive and ask if she's a shell patient and if she had an appointment on December 12th. She asks if she's in trouble, and Flores asks whether she spoke to Chloe that day. Samantha mentions the NDA and asks what's going on, to which Flores tells her Chloe has been missing since then. Her family said they recently reconnected, so they're checking if Chloe contacted her. Samantha says no, explaining she was only her babysitter years ago. Before leaving, Flores asks her to reach out if Chloe contacts her. She tells Zoe about the detectives, and Zoe suggests they might be competitors posing as cops to steal information. Samantha insists they seemed real, but Zoe says she's too trusting. When Samantha asks if she can check whether Chloe is okay, Zoe says, "Consider it done." As Zoe steps away to take a call, Samantha notices another mole forming on her forearm. The next day, Samantha is itching all over and is horrified to see scales forming on her leg. Later, Samantha is shooting for the movie when she suddenly vomits a thick greenish liquid all over her co-star. Embarrassed and panicked, Samantha rushes away, but vomits on a reporter as well. Concerned, Lydia rushes to her side and asks if she should call a medic or get some help. But Samantha tells her to just leave her alone. Later, Zoe comes to see her after receiving her message, and Samantha tells her she feels like something is seriously wrong with her, but Zoe calmly reassures her that they'll take care of it. As they step out of the vanity van, Zoe introduces Samantha to her driver, Cornelius. Zoe assures Samantha that whatever the issue is, they'll fix it. Samantha asks about Hubert, and Zoe says he was fired after a conflict with the brand. When Samantha brings up Chloe, Zoe claims she heard Chloe moved to Paris. Samantha suggests calling her to be sure she's okay, but Zoe refuses, saying she won't contact some random girl in France just to ease her mind. Zoe then goes to get tea for her, and during this, Samantha rushes to the bathroom and pulls the detective's card from her purse. When she comes back out, Zoe offers her some tea, saying it will help her feel better. As Samantha sits down, Zoe calmly asks who she just called, saying she heard her talking on the phone, but Samantha says she didn't call anyone. Zoe asks if she can see her phone, saying that if she is telling the truth, she can call her crazy and drop it. Samantha insists she wants to see a doctor, but Zoe firmly says she needs to stay there. And when Samantha asks why she's doing this, Zoe says she just cares for her. Something Samantha might not understand, because her mother raised her to feel insecure about herself. She tells her she needs someone she can trust, but Samantha says she's not sure she does trust her. Zoe calls that ungrateful, asking what she thinks would happen if she walked out into the world with those disgusting things growing on her body. Would that be good for her brand? Zoe launches into a bitter rant about how society treats women, saying if a woman improves herself, she's mocked. If she gets Botox, she's a warning story. And if she ages naturally, she's deemed irrelevant. Now, she insists, they finally have a solution to keep their beauty and power without judgment, and she asks her not to ruin it. Suddenly, Samantha throws the tea in Zoe's face and runs. But before she can escape, Cornelius starts chasing her. She manages to make it to the road, where Lydia arrives just in time and tells her to get in. Samantha jumps into the car, and they speed away. As they drive, Lydia asks what's going on, and noticing the shell-like growths on Samantha's hand. She asks if they're from the treatment, but Samantha says no. Samantha meets the detectives at an eatery and asks if they've ever seen anything like it. She says it must be linked to Chloe's disappearance, and now it's happening to her, and she fears Zoe will silence her. She plays an audio recording of Zoe, but Abramson stops her, saying it's illegal without consent. Flores brings up the NDA, and Samantha says she doesn't care. She needs a doctor and protection. Instead, they warn she's in serious legal trouble, and Samantha realizes they're not on her side. Meanwhile, Lydia waits outside in the car for Samantha when Cornelius knocks on the door glass. Flores tells Samantha that she is sick and doesn't have many options right now. She suggests they focus on getting her healthy first, and once she's stable, she can investigate her suspicions. Samantha reluctantly agrees, but says she needs to use the bathroom before they leave. Instead of going to the restroom, she tries to slip out, but Cornelius blocks her path. Panicking, she turns and rushes into the kitchen area. Flores and Abramson chase after her, and in the chaos, Samantha quickly orders a taxi. As they search for her, she runs outside, jumps into the taxi, and speeds away. However, the taxi is operating in a strict 25-mile-per-hour automated driving zone. Desperate to escape faster, Samantha climbs into the front seat and tries to switch it to manual mode. But the system asks her to sign up first. Flores pulls up alongside and tells her to pull over. But just then, the traffic light turns orange, and a truck slams into the detective's car. Samantha goes to see Dr. Hubert, and he tells her he doesn't want to frighten her, but they're running out of time. He says he needs to get her back to the clinic immediately, but Samantha refuses and asks him to do it here. Hubert helps her lie down in a bathtub filled with water mixed with chemicals. He carefully adds another substance to raise the pH level, and as soon as it reacts, Samantha's body begins to burn intensely, but the shell-like growths on her skin begin to melt into the solution, and Hubert tells her to keep breathing, assuring her that it's working. Later, Samantha finds the shells gone, and Hubert apologizes, admitting he didn't fully understand the clinic's work and is sorry for pushing her into the treatment. Samantha goes to the washroom and is shocked to find shell products in a drawer, one bottle labeled with Chloe's name. She confronts him about the prescription bottle with Chloe's name. Shocked, he explains Chloe was his patient. Her skin began calcifying like Samantha's, and she came to him for help, and during that time, they started a relationship. Samantha asks if he did something to Chloe, and Hubert insists he tried everything he could to stop the condition, but he might have made it worse. When she asks where Chloe is, he tells her she can't see her. That's when Samantha realizes Chloe must be somewhere in the house, and she starts searching. Hubert tries to stop her, but Samantha pulls a pair of scissors from her pocket and stabs him before running down the hallway and locking herself in. From another room, she hears strange noises. Thinking Chloe is inside, she slowly approaches and peeks in, only to catch a horrifying glimpse of a distorted creature. The creature begins slamming against the door, trying to break free. Terrified, Samantha runs back out and sees Hubert lying on the floor with something stabbed in his neck, and Cornelius knocks her unconscious. When Samantha wakes up, a man introduces himself as Randolph Chan, a lawyer for the Shell Group, along with Dr. Brand, the CEO. Samantha asks about Chloe, and Randolph says she's safe at the clinic. Dr. Brand explains that in rare cases, epidermal calcifications become irregular, and Randolph insists the risks were clearly stated in the NDA. But Samantha says she doesn't care and threatens to call a lawyer and the press. Zoe tells her to go ahead, warning that it won't end well. Her career will be destroyed, and her psoriasis and rapid aging will return. Randolph presents a deal, company shares and lifelong free treatments. But when Samantha refuses, Zoe urges her to take it, saying beauty is power and survival. Samantha fires back that Zoe needs her to believe that, otherwise she would have nothing. So, regarding her little offer, she is good. She then says she's leaving and taking Chloe with her. But as she stands, Zoe coldly says she's not going anywhere and tells Randolph to make the call. On Randolph's call, Cornelius drives a truck inside, and as he opens the tailgate, Zoe says Hubert's attempt to remedy Chloe's symptoms only accelerated her mutation. Dr. Brand adds that the enzyme overtook Chloe, and she's no longer fully human. Zoe says she thinks they can both agree that Chloe needs to stay at the clinic, where she is receiving expert medical attention. Chloe becomes furious and starts smashing against the glass enclosure. Zoe nervously asks if the glass will hold, but it suddenly shatters. Everyone backs away in terror as a grotesque, lobster-like Chloe lunges forward. She attacks Dr. Brand first and kills him instantly. Terrified, Samantha hides behind a truck when an injured Randolph is hurled there, before Chloe drags him back and brutally kills him as well. While Chloe is distracted, Samantha runs and finds Lydia locked inside a room. She urgently tells her they have to leave now, but Cornelius arrives there. However, before he can reach them, Chloe leaps at him and drags him away. After a while, Zoe searches for Samantha, saying it hurts that she betrayed her, and claiming they both wanted the same thing, friendship. She then reveals she secured Samantha's roles, insisting no one else would have hired her, and that she helped her out of pity. Samantha suddenly knocks her to the ground, but just then, the door behind Samantha slowly opens, and Chloe enters. The monstrous, lobster-like Chloe moves slowly into the room, and Zoe rises to her feet. At first, Chloe steps toward Samantha, but she doesn't attack her. Instead, she turns toward Zoe. Terrified, Zoe backs away and quickly climbs into one of the treatment pods. Chloe tries to force it open, but when it doesn't budge, she turns to the control system and smashes it. The damaged system suddenly activates, and Chloe quietly walks out of the room. Inside the pod, Zoe screams at Samantha to open the door, but the pod begins filling with thick smoke. Samantha watches coldly as Zoe's body starts to burn. She screams in agony, and after a horrifying moment, Zoe's body violently explodes inside the chamber. Moments later, the machine completes its process, and neatly packaged tissue is expelled in a sealed bag. A few months later, Samantha appears on a late-night show to promote her new book, Skin Deep. She says she hopes her story serves as a cautionary tale, and maybe even offers some hope. When Sally asks if she's surprised Shell is still thriving, Samantha admits people will always want to look good, but she says it's no longer what matters most to her, and she's happier because of that. That's it for today's recap. If you liked it, hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for more.